Hey guys, this is Tara Macklin popping in here to share with you guys some of my big mistakes of 2020. So, I have this big heart to serve women with PCOS on something that I myself have struggled with. I fell into the hole of not realizing that my lifestyle is a contributing factor to my very struggling with PCOS. And so I've done this big 180 and turned it around to where I'm thriving with PCOS. Well, in creating these platforms, I followed a lot of different people that are also in the same genre as what I'm hoping to dive into to learn from them and to make sure that I'm providing you guys with information in a very safe manner because as another medical professional, that's all I seek to do is to help serve people. I would be crestfallen if something I put out there actually created harm rather than serve people. And so in trying to put all the pieces together and serve women with PCOS, I went on this journey of listening to a bunch of other things that other people were saying. And because I was really questioning whether what I was going to present was going to be a service. And you guys probably haven't seen the most of what I had planned on presenting because I actually went on more of an exploratory journey over the last 6 or so months since all my platforms have been up and active. So, in learning in these things, I'm going to present the things that have failed for me, what I have learned from them. And what I do want to say is, as I go through these things, please don't bash me because I know all of us have different PCOS and we all have different things to learn and the different tools that are out there. What is working for you just didn't work for me, and that's okay. But I'm just sharing my experience and my journey and the tools that I've taken from each one of them, and along with something that worked for me and putting it together into a nice package to present to people as a master tool to help people with their PCOS. So here are some things that I've learned. And this is, again, my starting point of this platform had to do with what I felt was just a masking approach to PCOS. That was my experience in my appointments. And I feel like I went to and worked with some really great professionals. It wasn't cutting it. And that's because no one was talking to me about lifestyle. So they're probably, or at least that's my guess, you're probably getting a very similar experience. And one of those experiences that kind of makes PCOS so tricky in the first place is that we get so focused on weight loss. Unless, of course, you're a lean type of PCOS, where I still feel like lifestyle changes do help serve you, women. It's just that you're not getting this lecture of you need to lose weight. And if you would just lose weight, I could take you off this medicine. Because that's the lecture that I got like every time that I went. In fact, my labs were at the end of the appointment and I'd get the message back saying, "Oh, your labs look great. We'll see you in a year. Just work on losing that weight, Tara, okay? Good job. You can do this." I had to ask for the dietitian, which didn't specialize in PCOS, and that's not her fault, and it didn't serve me. So I had to go on a journey on my own, which is, again, why I put together this platform. But as I was trying to gather up all the tools, I got lost in all the other things that other people were saying. So here's what I learned on that journey. So my root cause for my PCOS that I didn't know existed, but I was treating it, is inflammation. I didn't honestly know this until I started creating these platforms that there were drivers and types and things like that to look into. And you women out there, if you're a lean PCOS woman and you're still listening to this, I feel for you because I know your struggles at the doctor's office are probably worse than mine. The doctors probably don't even believe you have PCOS. I'm so sorry for that. But please, stay tuned to some of these things that I've learned. It may be helpful for you as well. So I did an elimination protocol, and that was my platform that I was going to start with. And as I was gathering up information, a lot of the other health professionals out there are saying, well, you don't need to do that. You don't need to give up those things. And the things that I had given up, oh, well, you don't need to give up those things. No, that's not necessary for PCOS. actually going to create more diet culture if you tell people to do that. So I believe them. And I dove into some of the other advices out there. And come to find out, really full circle, still took me back to what worked for me in the first place. The biggest problem with elimination protocols is that women don't use them for what it is. It's a tool. It's not a lifestyle. It's not a lifelong way of living. So this is where a lot of those professionals kind of come in and bash them. It's a tool. It's short term. It is not long term. Take the information you learn from it, and then you create your lifestyle from that. That is what an elimination protocol is. So that would be mistake number one that I feel like I fell into, is them believing that my tool was not serving, when in actuality, what they're saying is it's not a lifestyle, and they're not wrong. So where that led me to, and even prior to going onto this platform and doing this, is I went and jumped into paleo style eating. And I don't necessarily disagree with this style of eating. However, what I missed, and what many PCOS women may need if it's not inflammatory for them, guys, eat the beans. Yeah, eat the beans. So black beans is something that I missed. And I'm not a big bean eater, but I do love me some green beans, and I love peas, and I like black beans, and they're not inflammatory for my body. My body doesn't have a problem processing the lectins. In fact, a lot of times my stuff's already been blanched and done through all the things that a lot of times those lectins are broken down anyways. So I'm not eating them raw, and I'm soaking them if I'm getting them raw before I cook with them. So that is probably one of the key pieces why paleo leaves that out, is it's inflammatory for a lot of people. But for me, it's not, and I needed that back. Other drawbacks with paleo style of eating is people tend to fall into this diet culture of, because it's a paleo dessert, it's healthy. Well, with PCOS, we know that sugar plays a role, even natural sugars. And while natural sugars aren't bad for us, you still have to watch the quantity, because it isn't just about the quality, it's also about the quantity. I'm not trying to tell you to count the things, but I am telling you that sweet treats are still sweet treats. So don't fall into the misconception that because it's a paleo sweet treat, you can eat more of it. Okay? Another thing that, with at least here in the States, that women tend to do, if you're paleo and you're kind of really getting on paleo on the surface, like you're not deep dove into paleo eating, like people that are deeply into paleo aren't, I'm guessing, out doing this, is just because the box says it's gluten-free doesn't mean you should probably eat it. Read the label. There's a lot of junk in these processed things. These companies are like, oh no, we're losing people to our products because they're not eating gluten anymore. So we're going to create a new gluten product so they'll keep buying our stuff. That quick box mix of brownies probably still isn't going to serve you. So again, read the label. It doesn't fit in with the lifestyle. And maybe even just skip it. So I did learn a lot of great things about paleo. I learned how to cook and manage and do things for myself and work around a lot of the things, but you still have to pay attention to the things that you're buying. Just because it fits into the paleo lifestyle doesn't mean it's going to serve you. So not necessarily a knock on paleo, just more of a knock on American food industry. So keto. And this is where I'm probably going to get attacked. And I love you guys so much. If keto works for you, keep doing keto. But for me, it wasn't something that served me. One, I don't have time for keto flu. Two, I did do keto that was non-dairy, and it's still just, it wasn't enough for me. And three, I tried to do the tips and tricks that people taught me to overcome the keto flu. It just didn't work. I couldn't get past it, and I didn't have time for it. And I don't want to count my carbs. Like, I really don't. I just want to look at a plate and go, oh, yep, that looks good, and I can eat it. Now, here's what I did learn from keto, and this is the positive: healthy fats. Not everything has to be fat from dairy and bacon and all that stuff. So um, there are plenty of healthy fats, which I learned a lot of this through paleo as well. But the importance of having them in my day-to-day eating was something that I learned from keto. So Kalamala olives are definitely one of my jams, and making sure that I'm getting in plenty of avocados because those things are not inflammatory for my body. Making sure I'm getting in good healthy fats from fish, which I've done it before, but I also just in making sure I have a good amount of protein in my meals, making sure that my meals are balanced. That is something that I definitely had two good key takeaways from keto. So, not again knocking it. And I know many of functional medicine doctors that will actually even suggest keto for PCOS on a short term basis. So, again, as a tool, not a long term lifestyle. So, if you're looking into keto and considering either from a short term perspective or a long term perspective, which again, the long term perspective was not going to work out with me and traveling and sports anyway. Um, make sure you're talking to your physician and make sure you can rule out some reasons why you shouldn't be doing keto, because there are some people that cannot keto. Which from keto led me into low carb, which again was still more counting. So I don't know why I thought this was going to be a thing for me. But I did still learn that I needed just maybe more, a little bit more carbs. I need a little bit more than 100 grams of carbs per day. But it taught me to balance out my plate again a little bit more, and what having a little bit more carbs looks like as a recovering carbaholic who used to eat meals that was nothing but carbs. I used to skip the meat. I used to eat a lot of junk, guys. Let's just be real. I used to buy Tostitos, whatever, out of the freezer. And trust me, there's still days that I just want that quick fix, but I don't do it. So, having the nice balanced meals, eating my roasted vegetables, and maybe having just a little bit of potatoes because my body needs the energy to go through and have a good cycle and to go work out the next day. I needed just that little bit of carb to help get me over the oomph. So I did learn something. And again, it was just more just building upon what I got out of keto, which is building that balanced plate. So last but not least, intuitive eating. And I love the premise of intuitive eating. There's so many rules I agree with. But what I don't agree with is when you put ice cream, cookies, fried foods on the same playing field as your broccoli, your sweet potato, and a steak. Like, they're not the same, guys. And I'm all for the 80-20 rule. Like, I'm not telling you to not ever eat ice cream again. If dairy is not inflammatory for you, please go eat the ice cream. But don't eat a pint of it because you're craving a pint of ice cream. Because intuitively your body is craving something and you're going to go eat the thing because you're an intuitive eater, right? But the big piece that a lot of people miss with intuitive eating is why you're craving said ice cream. Is it stress? Is it that you're missing some sort of nutrient? What is it that your body is actually really trying to signal? Here's my prime example, and I actually learned this before I actually looked into more about intuitive eating. I've learned this before, but I was craving chocolate like it was going out of style. I couldn't get enough of it. And I even tried other foods that had what chocolate was providing for me, which was magnesium. Like, I love spinach, so I was trying to eat more spinach, but it just didn't fill the piece that I was missing from eating the chocolate. So I started supplementing in magnesium. And when I started supplementing in magnesium, I can sit here to this day and tell you I'm not dreaming of chocolate. In fact, the very idea of potentially eating some chocolate is not a turn on for me. So at the end of the day, really what intuitive eating is trying to teach people is to listen to the signals of what your body is telling you it's craving. Like all that junk food that I told you that was over here, the ice cream, the fried foods, the processed foods, they're meant for you to be addicted to them so you will keep buying. There's a reason why people crave French fries from a certain place. Like it's meant for you to want to eat the thing so you'll keep consuming them so they can make money off of you. Like that's just consumerism in the United States and in many other places. So, with that said, if you're going to go the intuitive eating approach, and again, I'm not telling you to not eat ice cream. I eat ice cream. I make my own dairy-free, like low sugar ice cream at home. So I've learned to work around the things that I used to crave to enjoy the 20% of what I like to eat, which is ice cream. But at the end of the day, look into why you're craving those things. Sometimes I just want that little bit of sweet, just that little bit, and that's all I need anymore. But if you're looking at that whole pint of ice cream or the whole half gallon, because I'm telling you right now, I used to eat whole half gallons of ice cream and feel miserable after the fact. Thank you, emotional eating. But and that's what I love about intuitive eating is really trying to help women work past emotional eating and work past the destructive like roller coaster eating that we do when we get off of a diet that is unsustainable to us. They're trying to make all food okay. But at the end of the day, especially if you have PCOS, not all food is okay. It is okay to enjoy a little bit of ice cream. What is not okay is to then go and say, well, I'm craving ice cream and not also eat the balanced, good nutritional foods. Like sometimes that gets lost in the transition of intuitive eating. So I don't want you to lose that transition. If you are going to go that route, please, please work with someone who can help you work on that because not all food is okay. The heavily processed food, as many of us know, is not going to serve us. So that is what I learned. Those are the mistakes that I made in 2020. Hopefully that is helpful to you. Guys, I'm not here again to bash anything. What I am here to do is share with you what I've learned and put it into a nice little box so that way I can present what has helped me in a more mindful way to consider all the pieces at play and put it all together. So that way you guys are creating nice, balanced things, that we're not creating destructive eating, that we're listening to our bodies and what it's telling us. That is what I've learned in 2020, so that way I can create something that is more well-rounded for all of you guys and hopefully serve you guys. So if you guys have found this helpful, please make sure you guys are clicking subscribe and clicking on the bell so you get alerted every time I put up a new video. Thank you guys for hanging with me as long as you did. No matter how many times I've tried to do this video, it still comes out long, and that's just I have so much to say because I'm cramming a year's worth of knowledge into a 20-minute box. So I apologize for the length and thank you for sticking with me for so long. And I will see you guys again soon. If you guys need other ways to kind of connect, make sure you guys are looking down below and we can connect in that way. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye-bye.